It started with the most absurd demand I'd ever heard. Karen's son wanted my Mustang. Not to buy it, not to rent it, just to take it for a joyride. Naturally, I said no. But Karen, never one to accept a simple refusal, immediately called the cops, insisting that I hand over what belonged to her family. She assumed, as always, that her entitlement outweighed logic, law, and property rights. I was at the ranch when her call came through. I calmly explained to her that my Mustang was parked on my property and under my full ownership. That should have ended the discussion, but Karen's ego required escalation. Minutes later, flashing lights appeared at my driveway. Officers stepped out, prepared to mediate what they assumed was a neighborhood dispute. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just the car's owner. I was also the chief of police. As soon as the officers realized who they were dealing with, the dynamic changed instantly. Karen's confidence wavered. The same smugness that had carried her through countless HOA disputes vanished when she realized she was facing someone with full legal authority over law enforcement proceedings in the county. Her attempts to assert control were met with calm, precise instructions and procedural clarity. Karen's son, oblivious to the storm brewing, looked at the Mustang and muttered about taking it, just for a few minutes. I calmly reminded him, and his mother, that unauthorized use of private property was theft, and that any attempts would result in immediate legal consequences. Karen's protests grew louder, but the officers now stood firmly on my side, documenting her harassment and overreach. By the time the situation concluded, Karen had retreated, humiliated and flustered, and her son had learned a harsh lesson about entitlement. The Mustang remained untouched, my property rights fully reinforced, and the HOA's attempt at intimidation had completely failed. The neighborhood witnessed her defeat, and whispers began circulating about just how far her arrogance had overstepped the law. The incident served as a stark reminder. Entitlement has limits, and ignoring authority comes with consequences. Karen had assumed she could bend the rules because she was loud, aggressive, and connected. Instead, she encountered someone with full legal power, experience, and strategic foresight. Every action she took only reinforced her miscalculation. The aftermath was decisive. Karen's credibility plummeted, her HOA influence diminished, and her son finally understood that property rights aren't optional privileges. They are enforceable protections backed by law. The story quickly became the talk of the neighborhood, a cautionary tale about the dangers of overconfidence and underestimating authority. Karen had called the cops to assert dominance, but she left the scene with nothing but embarrassment, a tarnished reputation, and a profound lesson in humility. In the end, the Mustang remained where it belonged. My property remained secure, and Karen's illusions of power were shattered forever.